That's one thing. Women, consider that. You can express your needs and your wants without being accused of being sexist. Men can't. Let's grab the chats.
Our Iron Road asks, hey, Steven, any advice for a Gen Z millennial trying to find a loyal woman? I found that hookup culture has not only destroyed dating, but also reached the church too.
What's their name? Is this the guy? This is a guy, I assume?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to give
Road.
advice to, a lesbian. I don't want to, I don't want to advocate hellfire.
Church going.
Sometimes you feel like Dr. Laura. Do you watch the show?
Yeah, do you watch the show? But they're saying, though, it's reached the church where it is really hard to find a loyal woman. Look, you have to screen for values, and you also, here's something else, too. You have to not only screen for values, you don't have to share everything in common, but you also should really enjoy each other's company. That's one thing I think sometimes the church has done a disservice, where it's just screen for values, and then you have people who, agree on the same values that everyone in the church does, but there isn't compatibility. And I don't mean sexual compatibility.
You have to have it.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's overlooked. How to find them? Look, sometimes I will say this. Sometimes the fault rests with the guy. Sometimes a guy can't find a good, loyal woman. Like, I know people who are like, I think that women are, it's like, yeah, but you're looking for them in a nightclub. Or, yeah, but you picked a girl who has nothing but ass pictures on Instagram. What did you expect? You expect that she was going to take down her profile and keep that reserved for you? So, yeah, look, there are some red flags to avoid. I would say, generally speaking, you probably want to date someone who has their profile set to private.
That's usually pretty
as
good.
a good rule. If someone just has their profile open to everyone and they're clearly clamoring for attention, those are signs of narcissism, and that is someone who really sometimes a relationship is only as valuable as the attention you give them. So if you screen for, I think that's pretty important right now. When we talk about sort of mental health and psychological profiles, there's a lot of narcissism now, and it's encouraged. It's been encouraged because culture tells women that you're beautiful and you're perfect the way you are. And by the way, women are beautiful, but no women are perfect, just like no men are perfect. But men have never been told that they're perfect. Yeah. Women, since the dawn of modern feminism, have been told that they are perfect and they shouldn't have to change for any man. So I would look for a woman not only with traditional values, but particularly a woman who values, if it's what you want, some kind of traditional gender roles. And that doesn't mean she has to be barefoot pregnant in the kitchen, but understanding that there is a division of labor and that men and women are different, and someone who can have the kinds of conversations that we have here. There shouldn't be as much of a disconnect in men and women's perspectives on relationships. There should be a very big difference in your roles, but there shouldn't be a disconnect on your view of those roles and what a relationship should be. And unfortunately, that's been encouraged by romantic comedies because it's porn for women. I watched this film not too long ago, About Time, with Rachel McAdams. It was offensively bad. It was so bad. It's this guy who can travel through time, okay? He can travel through time. He goes to law school. He meets this girl who contributes absolutely nothing. And then
she works a job.
She stops working her job.
The movie.
And then I cast you straight to the pit of hell. Those words. And then finally, he can travel through time, but there's this thing where she has 2 kids. Okay, she wants kids. And then he gets up on Saturday and he makes breakfast. So he's at home. He's taking care of the kids. He's going to law school, by the way. And then she says, I really want a 3rd child. But the thing is, if he travels back in time, something happens if he has his 3rd child. Yeah. His father will die. There's some kind of a loop. I don't remember the exact issue. And she knows that. And he's like, well, maybe we can wait and talk about it later. She's like, okay. Is it later now? It's like, his dad's going to die, bitch. But it's just, if the man loves me, he will do anything for me. That's not true. That's not true. And she wasn't reciprocating. So, yeah, I think that romantic comedies are pornography for women, and it really has often poisoned what they view a relationship to be, right? If a man loves you, he'll love you for exactly what you are. That's not true. Every single man who loves his wife has some things that he would change about her, okay? Just like you would about your man. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that he does not love you. God loves you the way you are, right? We talk about, guess what? God wants you to change some things about yourself. Doesn't mean he doesn't love you. You have kids who you love? Do you love every single thing they do? Of course not. But for some reason, only with women today, it's, if he loves you, he won't want to change a thing. Well, how about you drop 25? How dare you?
That's very true, though, about women and romanticizing things and romantic comedies. The Bachelor, The Bachelorette.
Oh my
that
God!
Demo is entirely women,
terrible.
And they take it. They love the pursuit so much.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bachelor, it is I don't know, 99%. The audience is women taking it all to heart. being hurt by these episodes. It's
I thought you were going to say the
unbelievable.
contestants are 99% white, and they always keep like a couple of minorities, and then like they broom them. Like, keep her to the third week. Like, it's like the guy has literally, all right, we have remaining 12 tall blondes with blue eyes and 1 Ethiopian. So we wonder how this is going to go.
It can't be like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's when 50 Shades of Grey came out and was incredibly popular with women, and it's like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
You want a guy who basically is going to make you sign a contract because the sexual activity is so perverted that he doesn't want you to ever talk to anybody about it. And by the way, you have rules on what you can and can't do in your off time, but he's not willing to commit to a relationship or anything.
The pursuit, though, is what I'm talking about. The Bachelor and the Bachelorette is that ongoing date. And then the minute it gets down to a few, then we expect an exclusive, and we're deeply offended if there are 3 left, and we're
and he's banging 3 women in the honeymoon suite.
You know that
the fantasy suite.
Yes.
That sounds like you guys watched a show.
Yeah, and they all convinced themselves.
only the fantasy suite night.
They all convinced themselves at the finals, like the final 3 of the fantasy suite. It's like, I want to give you this key. Should you forego your own room to stay in the fantasy suite with me?
It's the line.
And the woman's like, well, I mean, I guess if I'm the only one. And he doesn't say anything. Like, good enough for me. Okay, let's go screw in the fantasy suite.
Because they could really talk and get to know each other.
Yes, we could really talk
Without
and get
cameras.
to know. Where are my panties? That was fast. Weird. Oh.
No, so let me address this question. So we don't find it typically challenging to find somebody to date in school, right? At some point, whether you started dating in high school or college, whatever it is, right? So you typically don't find it there. College, don't find it there. Workplace, if you work at a company that's sizable enough, you typically don't have as many problems there. You can, for sure, still have problems in all those scenarios.
Shouldn't
but
do it.
what is the common thread there? You're just doing life.
Right.
If you think that you can go game for 4 hours a day after work, and work maybe is remote or it's got 5 people in an office somewhere, and that FedEx is going to show up on your door with somebody who says wife on the forehead and deliver the package to you, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Go be active. Go get involved in a myriad of things. If you like scuba diving, go start scuba diving with a group of people. Start doing stuff. Sports,
I don't know how much
church,
socializing.
whatever.
I guess it's good because a woman can't talk.
There's plenty of fish in the sea. So
No, but they hang out afterwards, and that is terrible.
Okay,
How
like was
dare you? Yeah.
But is this guy surprised that it's gotten into the church? I don't mean hookup culture.
It's been in the church.
But the young
didn't
adult, the
just
single
get there.
adults groups in churches are, I mean, that's what they're there for. I mean, not for hookup culture.
No,
Usually
but
just a
they're
bunch
there
of
to hang out.
divorcees with C-section scars.
Yeah, no, but you just, as somebody who went through this, like obviously I didn't meet my wife until my late 30s.
Yeah.
Right. And thank God that, I basically, what happened is we were both doing what we do. A friend invited her to dinner. I was doing a wine dinner because I was part of the team that was
you were
putting
both
the
getting
dinner
drunk.
on. Yes. Well, that be what we do at that time.
That's the compatibility.
No, we were drinking wine. We were not drinking to get drunk. But the whole purpose, the point was like, she didn't just show up to me.
Yeah.
Right. We were both doing life and met each other and had something in common. It makes the conversation easy instead of a job interview like, hey, I met you on Tinder.
Well,
I
I
get
do
it.
think,
It can
here's the
happen.
thing, I do think that, and obviously pornography is horribly corrosive, and we talked about that. You can go back and watch them that we did in, I think, 2015, Your Brain on Porn. But here's the thing. Let's take, romantic comedies and this culture, feminist culture, is basically pornography for women, right? It's this hyperly unrealistic view of what a relationship should be, whereas pornography is a completely unrealistic and unhealthy view of what sex should be. But here's the primary difference. Men know that it's not real. Men know that porn isn't real. Otherwise, every single guy would quit their job and just go become a pizza delivery guy. That's what happens.
I think the girls know that ABC isn't going to pick you up in a helicopter and take you.
But
to the
I don't
top
think
of a
they know
building.
that when they watch these films that,
know.
hold on a second, a guy is going to love every single thing about me, and I don't need to change anything, and that's going to be the relationship. And so, it is a challenge, and I would say screen for that. You shouldn't be so far apart on your
Right.
views of relationships and what your roles are. That needs to be a part of discussing relationships, not just your values, but what you view a relationship to be. And if you're not on the same page, boom, bye.
Values first, compatibility.
Yeah. But you're
Smoking hotness.
Yes.
And you know what?
In no
I joke
particular
zero.
order.
I joke zero because that'll take care of itself. A man will not be attracted to what he's not attracted to.
No, absolutely.
That's good. So you don't have to screen for that first. It's going to happen anyway.
Yep, absolutely right. Once upon a time, when people talk about like the trad wife trend, which is just kind of a gimmick, by the way. A lot
Trad
of
wife?
traditional wife. It's like on TikTok.
Gotcha.
But the thing is,
I'm
once
old.
upon a time,
I'm
women
so unhip.
women had the responsibilities of taking care of the household, taking care of their children. And by the way, it was also, they would have a grandmother who would say, you should always still try and fit in your wedding dress. Now, of course, that's an extreme example to make a point. But now you have women who go, I got my man, and they're nothing but sweatpants, and they gain weight, and they're burping and farting around him, and then wonder why this guy is no longer attracted to them. Guess what? That is part of your role. If a man is providing and protecting you, and here's something else too. People are like, oh, well, I want my man to communicate. Your man's not going to communicate the way that you want him to communicate. And by the way, doesn't matter. You signed up for that ride. You saw the ride. You bought a ticket anyway. A man cannot be condemned for communicating as a man would. And that's the thing. A lot of therapy that people go into is, well, I feel like my man doesn't hear me. He does. He's not responding the way that you want him to. Men are expected to communicate in the way that women demand communication. But hey, what about the flip side? Do you know how your man communicates? Do you know how your man bonds? Do some weird sex stuff. I'm just telling you. If you're married to him, I'm serious.
Hey,
it's like,
wait a
he's
minute.
not sitting listening to all of my emotional needs that aren't being met. Great. Okay. Is he full? Is he being fed? And is downstairs? Are they empty? I'm just being clear here. That's his love language. Why does only one love language matter? Here's one thing, women, and I understand what you're saying, but this is really important. Okay. Women, you never have to be afraid. And this is something I want you to understand, the women who are watching, and I get this concern for men right now, especially out there in the dating world. I can only imagine. If you have an issue with a man, or you have an expectation of a man, and of course you should, but I'm saying that you both should have expectations of each other, right? This is what I'm saying. You both have nukes. The issue is, if you express an expectation of a man that is not being met, you have never in your life had to worry about the sexist card being played against you. In other words, if you say, well, you know what? I feel like you're not really working very hard. I've heard people, I feel like you're not really thinking about that promotion. You're not really very driven, and we're still stuck in the same point. Never are you concerned of a man saying, so I just have to work and provide for you? Ever. But every single want, which is, by the way, innate in a man that he wants from you, he can't express, or at the very least, he knows you can use a sexism or misogyny card. In other words, a man going, man, it's $1,000 Uber Eats bill every month, or I'm eating, or you know what, I'm coming home and it's we're not having sex. If he says, hey, I don't really think you're keeping up your end of the bar. We're not sleeping together. Hey, you're not taking care of the house. What? So I'm just your chef and your hooker? Is that what you think a woman should be? That's one thing. Women, consider that. You can express your needs and your wants without being accused of being sexist. Men can't. And then they get condemned for not communicating properly. It really is a very tough spot. And so, yes, men, you need to be something that is worthy of dating and worthy of pursuing for a woman. But women, so do you. So do you. And you need to soften it so that men aren't afraid of engaging with you. A lot of men out there, and we get so many messages, are afraid, like, if I say this, I'm going to be accused of sexism. Not to mention, if I lean in for a kiss and then she says it's non-consensual, right? This is not a healthy place to be, and you can thank feminism.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.